Have you ever asked yourself how many countries actually exist in the world? It seems like a simple question, right? But the answer, well, it's surprisingly complicated. Depending on who you ask, the number might be 193, 195, or even more. Why? Because defining a country isn't as straightforward as pointing to it on a map. Let's dive into the messy, fascinating, and often political question of how many countries there really are. So what makes a country a country? Traditionally, 4 key ingredients are needed: a clearly defined territory, a permanent population, a functioning government, and the big one, sovereignty, the ability to govern without outside interference. If a region checks all those boxes, it might call itself a country. But it's not that easy. Take nation-states, for example, countries like Japan or Iceland, where most people share a common culture and identity. Then you have multinational states like India or Canada, home to diverse ethnic and cultural groups. And let's not forget microstates, tiny countries like San Marino or Tuvalu, which are small in size and population but fully sovereign. Today, the idea of statehood is evolving. Globalization, trade alliances, and powerful international organizations are blurring the lines. Some places operate like countries, but don't get recognized as one. If you want a global who's who of countries, most people turn to the United Nations. The UN has 193 member states and 2 observer states, Palestine and Vatican City. Membership gives a nation recognition, legitimacy, and a seat at the global table. But here's the twist. UN membership isn't the only measure of statehood. Take Taiwan. It has its own government, economy, even its own passport. But due to political pressure from China, Taiwan isn't a UN member. The same goes for Kosovo, which declared independence from Serbia in 2008 and is recognized by over 100 countries, but not by the UN as a whole. So even if a place acts like a country, it might not get official recognition. And that recognition, whether from the UN or major world powers, can make or break a state's international standing. Now let's answer the big question. How many countries are there really? The most common answer is 195. That's the 193 UN members plus the 2 observers. But start digging and things get messy. There are partially recognized states like Western Sahara, Abkhazia, South Ossetia, and Northern Cyprus. They claim independence, and some are even backed by powerful allies, but most of the world doesn't recognize them. Then there are disputed territories, regions like Palestine, Kurdistan, or Somaliland, that have limited or no international recognition, even though they have functioning governments. And what about micronations? Places like Sealand, a self-declared principality on an old sea fort off the coast of England. They have flags, passports, and even currency, but no serious recognition. So depending on your criteria, the count could go well beyond 195. The number of countries isn't fixed. It shifts with wars, diplomacy, independence movements, and geopolitical changes. Take a look at the world map. It's colorful, neatly divided, and surprisingly tidy. But that's just the surface. Behind every border lies a story of colonialism, revolution, alliances, and separation. The modern state system as we know it really began after the Peace of Westphalia in 1648. Which established the concept of sovereign states in Europe. That idea eventually spread globally through both diplomacy and conquest. Today there are power clusters like North America and Western Europe dominating global politics. Meanwhile, regions like Africa and Asia have many more countries, reflecting a more recent and often turbulent journey to independence. Size doesn't always equal power. Tiny nations like Qatar or Luxembourg can punch above their weight economically, while large countries may still struggle for global influence. So, how many countries are there? The answer is, it depends. It depends on your definition of a country, who you recognize, and what counts as sovereign. It depends on history, politics, borders, and people's identities. But maybe the more important question is, why does it matter? Recognizing a country isn't just a formality. It affects diplomacy, trade, passports, war, and peace. It shapes how people live and how they see themselves in the world. So the next time someone says there are 195 countries, ask, whose list are you using and who got left off? Because in the world of maps and borders, what we see isn't always the full picture.